Know that whatever way, shape, or form of addiction or codependency you are trying to process, as long as you feel you are battling it, you are fighting it, you cannot win. Because essentially, you are battling and fighting yourself. And you cannot win against yourself. You can process, clear, and release any way, shape, or form of addiction and codependency by holding space for yourself, by holding unconditional love for yourself and self-acceptance unconditionally. You can do this. I believe in you. Because you are me and I am you. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today for this intuitive reflection. This is a conversation, heart to heart and consciousness to consciousness. Let me say before I start that all the information that is being presented here is an intuitive reflection and also stems from my own, this body's personal experience, and some of it experiences of close friends or close family members that I have observed and that I would like to share here. Today I feel guided to speak about codependency / addiction. And let me say that codependency and addiction is one and the same. It is interwoven and goes hand in hand. Some beings, people, may think codependency is more an emotional thing and addiction more of a physical thing, but yet it is all interwoven and interconnected. So it's really, it goes hand in hand, and this is what I would like to speak about a little today. Now, I have touched on codependency in the past in previous videos, but I haven't really made a specific video about codependency / addiction. So I felt I wanted to go a little bit deeper into that topic. It is closely interlinked and related to self-acceptance and self-love, and also self-rejection and self-denial, which I already made some videos on previously, so you can feel free to look back at those videos. Self-rejection, self-denial is one video, and then the other video is self-acceptance and self-love. The initial root cause, as I perceive it, this body perceives it to be, for any and all codependency / addictions, the initial root cause is a lack of self-acceptance, a lack of self-love, a lack of self-trust, a lack of self-respect. And the reverse side of that would be self-rejection and self-denial in some way, shape, or form. Whether that be physical or emotional or mentally, it doesn't matter. Any way, shape, or form of codependency / addiction has as a root cause self-rejection, self-denial, which basically is lack of self-acceptance, lack of self-love, lack of self-trust, lack of self-respect. So you can look back at those videos, and I also made a video about self-respect and setting healthy boundaries, which I made recently. You can look back at that one too. It also has some I find helpful information in there. Now, even though the hello hawks, now even though the root cause for any codependency / addiction may be the same or similar as a form of lack of self-respect, lack of self-trust, lack of self-acceptance, lack of self-love, the initial appearance or codependency or addiction will be different for every single physical body, because every single physical body has a different makeup, has different memories, holds different what we call beliefs, has a different mindset, whatever you would like to refer to, has different emotions, and has a different physical makeup. Yes, different DNA, different background, and so on and so forth. So even though the root cause may be very similar in all cases of codependency/addiction, the appearance, meaning the way, shape, or form it shows up in the body's reality, physicality, may be different for every single physical body. Again, because every single physical body has a different makeup. Yes? So there is no all the same. Any codependency and / addiction takes a toll overall on the physical health, on the emotional health, and on the mental health. No matter which way, shape, or form the addiction / codependency is, it comes as one package. It always impacts the physical health, the mental health, and the emotional health. So in order to process, clear, and release any way, shape, or form of codependency / addiction, it needs to be seen again as a whole package, and needs to be dealt with, if you so want, or healed, whichever label you want to give it, emotionally, physically, and mentally. Okay? Now, with both codependency / addiction, we have a physical body who is either or mentally, physically, or emotionally attached and dependent on something that's perceivedly on the external. That may be another body, that may be another energy source, as in food, for instance, and that body who has a certain specific addiction, codependency, goes to the external to fill certain needs, which is, again, lack of confidence, self-confidence, lack of self-love, lack of self-trust, lack of self-respect, and lack of self-acceptance. So that body who has whichever way, shape, or form of codependency or addiction turns towards the perceived external to fill those needs that are supposedly lacking within that same body. Yes? So in that sense, the body who has a codependency / addiction is trying to fill a need that the body perceives to be lacking itself. Yes, I hope that makes sense. Now, there are various ways, shapes, or forms of codependency / addiction, and I just wanted to go over the most common ones, and that doesn't mean that those are all. There is a huge variety and different degrees, different levels of, and I just wanted to touch on the most common ones as a reference point, if you so want, without putting any shame, blame, guilt, or bias out there. Yes, this is just to help understand this subject topic a little bit better, and maybe give some comprehension and insights into how to deal with this. Okay, so I guess one of the most common codependencies, addictions, is alcohol, is pharmaceuticals, drugs, and I guess you can count smokes, cigarettes into that. Yes. That's one of the perceivedly most common forms. And it doesn't matter which form. Again, it always is a lack that is perceived within the specific body who has a specific addiction. Now, it may turn out for every single body differently, but the root cause is always the same. It's a lack of self-acceptance, a lack of self-love, and then turning towards the external, the perceived external reality to make up for what is perceived to be a lack within that body. Okay? So, another big codependency addiction is food. And that includes all sorts and shapes of food eating disorders. Yes. Another big thing that is often overlooked is work. Bodies that are perceived to be workaholics, that feel they have to excel or stand out in their workspace in order to gain attention, in order to gain acceptance. Yes? Any body who is looking towards the external for acceptance, for love, for attention, has initially self-rejection, self-denial, lack of self-acceptance, lack of self-love. Yes. So that's why any way, shape, or form of codependency/addiction stems from that root cause. Yes. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody or anybody who has issues with self-acceptance also has issues with addiction. It's not saying that, but everybody who has issues with addiction and codependency has lack of self-acceptance and self-love. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Another big addiction, codependency, that seems to appear in this external world that we are creating, seems to be a misconception of the physical body. The need to constantly change the physical body in order to please and get acceptance from the perceived external. Yes. So that could include surgeries, that could include extensive training, bodybuilding, whatever. That goes, I'm talking about something that is to the extreme, that goes beyond just wanting to be healthy. Okay? Another thing is addiction to money. Greed creates an addiction to money. Yes? And the need to have more than you need is created through the lack of abundance, the perceived lack of abundance, which also connects to lack of self-acceptance and lack of self-love. Because feeling the need to have physical stuff, meaning there's some lack within. Okay? So, huge spending addictions, gambling addictions, yes, all that ties into the codependency and addictions. And again, it stems from lack of self-love, self-acceptance, or self-rejection, self-denial, whichever. It's two parts of the same coin, no matter which you label it. Okay? Another thing that can turn into codependency and addiction is sports. Sports that either is being participated in or that is being watched can turn into an addiction in order to substitute whatever is felt as a lack within. Wanting to gain attention, wanting to gain acceptance, or putting your attention on something that you put on a higher pedestal as you perceive it, let's say sports, as you perceive it to be better than you, and wanting to aspire to be as something that you perceive to be on the external, that you perceive, or bodies perceive to be aspiring, worthy. Yes, that also is part of codependency and can lead to addiction. Another thing would be sex. That is a huge thing that is highly underestimated. sex and PORN. Codependency and addiction. When that usually has to do with the inability to express self and emotions properly, and then that turns into a physical need to express these things that cannot be expressed emotionally, physically, but in a not necessarily healthy way. And that then leads to codependency and addiction to either a physical body or a TV screen, you know. That is a big issue that is highly underestimated. And then, of course, religion, cults, indoctrination of any way, shape, or form is always a form of codependency, because you are, or the body is referring to something on the external versus going within. And as soon as the body goes towards the external for any way, shape, or form of acceptance, looking for love on the external, that always creates a form of codependency, and then sometimes in that way, shape, or form, addiction. Now, there is nothing wrong with playing in the external and finding a partner, for instance, or having friends, or having good family relationships, which are healthy, as long as you are healthy within yourself and you have a healthy self-love and self-acceptance for yourself, for your physical, mental, and emotional state. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. But if a body lacks that connection to self, that self-respect, self-acceptance, self-love, and only looks towards the perceived external, looks towards other bodies for love, for respect, for acceptance, then that is not healthy. Then that's a form of codependency. And it creates attachments that then need to be cleared again. Yes, and those are the type of codependencies and attachments where people bodies feel that they are victims of somebody else, not realizing they have created that for themselves, with not being able to go within and finding that within self first. Yes. Now, there is nothing wrong in playing in this external, what we perceive as external, as physical reality. Okay? As long as you understand and have the awareness that all of this is part of your creation, and that you are not a victim of circumstances, that there is nobody else to put blame on, that nobody else is responsible for your life circumstances. As long as you understand this and have that awareness, yes, there's nothing wrong with playing, and that's what we're here for, to play, to have the experiences. Yes, but if we do not have that awareness, and if we constantly blame the external for our situation, for our circumstances, yes, that is also a codependency, basically trying to put the blame on someone else versus taking responsibility for ourselves. Yes? Now, any codependency / addiction comes from within. Yes, and I cannot say that often enough. We have created that for ourselves. There is no one else to blame. There is nobody else responsible. No other body is responsible for this. Yes, it's your body. If you have issues, then it is your issue to deal with. Yes, then it is not time to sit around and wait for a hero to save you. Yes, if you're lacking love, it is not time to wait for someone to save you and give you that love. If you have addictions, yes, then it is not time for somebody to fix you and help you heal and help you clear that addiction, whichever way, shape, or form it is, whether it's a physical addiction, whether it's an emotional addiction, whether it's a mental addiction, it doesn't matter. Yes, it is always coming from within, because the inside creates the outside. Whether we're aware of it or not does not matter. Yes, it still creates from the inside out. And if we're addicted to something out there, then we have created that. And then it is our responsibility. Now, if you're happy with your addiction, then by all means, then that is the experience you're obviously wishing to create in this so perceived reality. Okay? There is nothing wrong with that. There is no blame or guilt. That's then your choice of whether you're aware of it or not. Yeah? But if you have any way, shape, or form of codependency / addiction and you wish to clear it, know that you have the power for it. No matter how many, let's say, support meetings you attend, no matter how many rehabilitations you participate in, it still needs to come from within. Yes? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't reach out for support, but the healing process starts within. Okay? It has to come from within, and it starts with accepting yourself, loving yourself. Yes? And accepting your reality as what is. Not trying to, oh, it's my parents' fault. Oh, it's my teacher's fault. Oh, it's the government's fault. Oh, it's the pharmaceuticals' fault. And blaming everything else except yourself. Now, I'm not saying blame yourself, because that just opens another can of worms. But what needs to be happening if you want to process, clear, and release any way, shape, or form of codependency and addiction, or addiction / addiction, is you need to look at what is going on within. What's happening here? Which part of yourself do you not like? Which part of yourself do you have issues with? Which part of yourself are you fighting and battling? Because that will then in some way, shape, or form act out as a codependency or addiction. And you feel like a victim, even though you created it, whether you're aware of it or not. Okay? Any codependency / addiction takes a toll on your physical health, your emotional health, and your mental health. It all comes together as one package, and it all needs to be seen and basically treated as one package. Now, this body personally has cleared eating disorder, and I'm not saying that happened overnight, but I was able to clear that without any therapy, just by going within and recognizing and realizing where it was coming from. I have a very good friend who cleared drug addiction successfully by himself. I have a family member who quit smoking from one day to the next successfully. I have another close friend who quit alcohol successfully without any therapy. And this is just to give the idea that this is possible. It comes from within. Yes? The process has to start here. It is possible for every single physical body. We all have that power within us. Yes? Whether you're aware of it or not, we all have that power within us. And that strength. And it comes down to what beliefs we hold in our mind, in our head, in our brain. What beliefs we hold, whether we find that within us or not. Whether we allow us to process, clear, and release that. Because some people, beings, bodies, are addicted to their addiction. They keep holding on to it because it has taken over their life. Yes? And I'm not saying this is easy. It's not. And I have been through a lot of shite. This body has. I know it's not easy. But it can be done because it comes from within. It has nothing to do whether the external supports you or not. No matter. Don't worry about that. It's all, this is what matters. What's within you. Find it within you. Do not look towards the external. The external will reflect once you start clearing your own shite. Yes? Then the external will follow suit and reflect that back to you. Yeah? So if you keep looking for confirmation from the external, validation from the external, validate yourself. Yes? Accept yourself. Find that unconditional love for yourself, and the external will follow suit. Yes? And once you're in that space of unconditional self-acceptance and self-love, yes, then you can clear any and all codependencies and addictions. Because you do not need anything from the external to make you feel better, to make you feel high. Yes? Because you are all that is, and that is plenty. That is enough to keep you busy for the rest of your physical body's life. Yeah? And then you realize you don't need no drugs, you don't need no alcohol, you don't need no smokes. You don't need no sex, yes, as an addiction. Yes, that does mean you cannot have a bottle of beer or a glass of wine now and then. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about having to have it and not being able to function without it. Yes? Okay? So, to sum it all up, and what it really comes down to is you can clear any way, shape, or form of codependency / addiction when you find that self-acceptance, self-love, self-respect, when you can set healthy boundaries, you find your authentic self-expression, which is connecting to what people call the higher self. Now, there is no higher self. The higher self is already here. It's just, are you aware of it? Are you aware you are that higher self? Yes? Are you aware of it? And if you're not aware of it, then you may feel like you're a victim of circumstances. You're a victim of life circumstances. No, you're creating all of this. Yes? And it's not easy to take that responsibility and own up to that. To own your story. It's my creation. Yes? Whether you like it or not, it's your creation. Yes? And that is the first step to self-acceptance and self-love, and to clearing all kind of shit that you don't want in your perceived life. Yes? So, to have the ability to find a higher vantage point, to look at it from a different perspective versus the victim perspective, versus putting guilt, blame, and shame on your perceived external reality. Yeah? To have that strength and that courage to work through your own stuff, to work through your own creation if it is uncomfortable. And a lot of times it is. Yes? Because if it was comfortable, we are in a position where when we're out of body, everything is comfortable, everything is love. Yes? That's our true essence. But that's not what we come here for, even though people would like this heaven on earth and fairy tale lands and whatever not. But believe it or not, that's not why consciousness is playing this game. Because remember, consciousness is playing both sides, the light and the dark. Yes? And that is a choice that consciousness makes. Yes? By choice. Because you can only recognize the light when you see the dark. Without dark, there is no light. There is no sound without silence. Yes. So that's why we are here. Appearing here in this game play of consciousness. And it helps to have some sort of awareness of that. To come out of this victim mentality, out of this lack mentality, to come out of this, oh, it's someone else's fault and I blame X, Y, and Z for whatever happened in my life. Yes? We have that power. We are the creator of our life, of our circumstances, whether we like it or not, whether this is comfortable or not. And if you would like to, if your physical body prefers to be more comfortable, yes, no physical body enjoys pain, at least not that I know of. Yes, and if you would like to prefer to create more comfortable experiences in your physical life, yes, then it helps to have the awareness that the creation comes from within. So if it's chaos in here, you will perceive chaos out there. Yes? Never mind about waiting for a superhero to save you or to save your world. Yes? It is you who saves you. It is you who saves your world. Because again, once you are clearing it up in here, cleaning it up if you so want, once you're healing in here, yes, your perceived external world follows suit and will reflect back to you what you're cleaning and clearing and healing in here. Yes? If you feel you need more love and acceptance, then you need to give that to yourself. And then it will reflect back to you from the world. Yes? And that's how you are your own superhero. And you heal your external reality. You bring peace to your external reality. And that's how you clear any way, shape, or form of codependency and addiction. Yes. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I feel I have covered what I wanted to say to this, because I already have videos that are related. So I don't want to repeat myself too much over and over. But if you have questions, if there's something you would like to have more information on that you feel hasn't been explained here or has not been covered or whatever, just leave a comment and I will get to that. Other than that, look at my previous videos. If you need more information on self-acceptance, self-love, on self-rejection, on, you know, authentic self-expression, setting healthy boundaries, that is very important if you want to play in your perceived external world, to be able to set healthy boundaries, to be able to know what is acceptable to you and what is not acceptable to you. Yes? And at the same time, not judging whatever is out there that you perceive to be out there that is not acceptable to you. Yes? If you can be neutral to that versus playing one or the other way, yes? If you can have that neutral vantage point and hold space for whatever is out there that is not acceptable to you, yes? But you don't have to judge it. You don't have to condone it, but you don't have to judge it either. You be neutral, yes? And have that neutral holding space and loving acceptance and awareness, and the acceptance that other physical bodies out there are on different perceived journeys. Now, we're not going anywhere, but perceived in the perceived timeline. Time doesn't exist either, but there are perceived journeys, otherwise this wouldn't be alive. And you know, have the loving acceptance that other bodies have different thresholds and make different decisions. Again, you don't have to condone it, but you do not have to judge it either, because that other body is also you. That other body, there is only one light, one consciousness, yes, operating through every single physical body. And as long as you're judging what is going on out there, you're judging yourself. Again, you do not wait to have a superhero show up. You are the superhero who fixes yourself, your internal, yes, and that then reflects outward and fixes your perceived external reality. Fixes, brings more love out there, yes, because once you have it in here, it radiates outwards, and then it'll reflect back to you. So it's a win-win situation. As long as you're battling what you perceive to be out there, you are battling yourself, and you cannot win against yourself. Yes, whether you're battling an addiction, whether you're against whatever you perceive to be going out there as a consciousness play, it doesn't matter. It is still you, and you cannot win against yourself. Yes, but if you have that neutral, loving acceptance, you don't have to condone it, but you don't have to judge it either. Yes, that's how you bring more love into your external reality. That's how you perceivedly heal your external. Okay, so thank you for being here today, for taking the time, and for being present. I really appreciate it. And I hope that answered some questions, that brought some new information or important information that may have not been in previous videos. The light in me recognizes that same light within you, because we are all one consciousness, one light. I see you, I appreciate you, I honor you. So much love and blessings.